The 2024 season is nearly upon us, and I've been advised to spend nearly £10,000 on repairs, spare parts and new equipment. I wanted to break down some of the pre-season costs to get the car up and running, ready for the new season ahead. Now, I know what you're thinking. His advisor must be the guy that's billing him. And you'd be right. But I do feel that most of this spend is justified and necessary. £4,500 on a spare engine, £2,000 to repair my current engine, £1,500 for an AIM DataLogger, £2,000 on tyres, and £2,000 on general repairs, taking the car apart ahead of the season opener at Brands Hatch on the 27th and 28th of April.
And now he goes, and he gets his foot down, and he does pull out a few car lengths over Craig Pollard, so he has made a pretty decent fist of this restart. A bit further back, Murphy Aldridge tries to get past Tom Westworth. He's going to try and dive up the inside and up into 4th position, and has done it. Nice move that. Good restart from Murphy Aldridge. He goes to 4th place.
Before we jump in, I'd love to ask for your support by hitting that like and subscribe button. As you can hear from this video, things are not cheap, and I'm hoping to get some sponsorship this year, and of course need a bit of a social following. So by far the biggest cost is of course that spare engine at £4,500. So you might be wondering why I need a spare. Well, last season at Silverstone, 6 cars in the garage, 3 of them had an engine blow up at roughly the same time ahead of the race after testing. So these cars can be quite unreliable. As a reminder, the cars run a Suzuki GSX-R 1000cc sport bike engine, which typically can be bought for £2,000 second hand. So you must be wondering, why 4.5? Why nearly double that? Well, this comes down to the engineering that goes into race tuning these engines. So at stock, they run around 170 brake horsepower, but after a bit of wizardry and engineering, these engines put out 210 brake horsepower, which of course are powering 4 wheels instead of 2. As I said, the spare engine is optional, but if you have a blowout or a problem and you're not able to finish the race, it can be a very disappointing weekend watching from behind the barrier or from the pit lane. With only 6 races in the year, or 6 race weekends in the year, you of course want to make sure you have all the spare parts available should there be a problem on the race weekend with the car. So I feel this is a necessary investment up front to have the spare engine in case anything goes wrong, and to make sure that we can run in every race. So the estimated £2,000 to repair my engine is because of a huge crack on the casing. We noticed this at Alton Park. I was pissing oil, not onto the track fortunately, but just around the general engine of the car and onto the under tray. Kept having to top up oil throughout the testing and before the race. So the £2,000 on tyres is actually a cost that everyone's going to incur this season. The F1000 Championship have changed tyre manufacturers because Avon, who historically produced the race tyres, are no longer making them. So therefore we're moving on to a new manufacturer called Hoosier. So the bit I'm most excited about is the £1,500 on an AIM DataLogger. So this is to replace the current dash on my car, which is a bit of a nightmare to be honest. Annoyingly, it's behind the steering wheel and I can't really see it when I'm driving. So this is for the oil temperature and the water pressures, which of course is giving me an indication as to whether something's going wrong on the car. Then of course you want to pull over and make sure that it doesn't blow the engine up. Like I said, I can't really see this, so when I'm trying to look down, you've got the problem of the bottom of your helmet hitting from the seatbelt. So what I have to do is, on the straights, slink down in my seat, pull the helmet front down so I can actually see behind the steering wheel to the information that's on the readout. Of course, this isn't safe or easy to do because most of the lap I'm going around corners. The exciting part of what I'm changing is going to give me such an advantage when it comes to setting up the car for the track and my driving style. So this data log is going to give me information about throttle control, brake application, and the balance of the car. So of course, it's going to tell me my braking distances, my cornering speed, and a throttle application out of corners. This will all be able to help me understand and improve my driving style and my speed. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to overlay this data onto my video so you guys can see how gentle you have to be with the throttle, especially when you're jumping with your right foot between the brake and the throttle, when you're wheel to wheel with other drivers. So the £2,000 to strip and rebuild the car is quite a common thing to do between race seasons apparently. This is to look for issues that you might have had throughout the season, look for faults, parts that maybe are a bit worn and need to be replaced, like this plastic bottle. No idea why the plastic bottle was there, or of course maybe you're upgrading parts like my DataLogger, so some of the wiring might be obsolete and you'll be able to lose some weight for the new season. The big thing for me though is we looked at my brake discs and they're a little worn. They definitely have some life in them, but I thought it'd be smart to start the new season with a fresh set of brake discs and the front 2 pads, because stopping is quite important. 4 brake discs and 2 pads cost around £400 as they come from Jedi, the car manufacturer. My teammate Tom's car is the orange and black car that I actually drove at Silverstone last year. During the autumn part race at the end of the season, he actually finished the race with a blown up brake disc. We don't understand how he managed to bring it home. General bits I'm trying to improve as well is really the paintwork, quite a dodgy paint job on the car, and quite a lot of stone and pebble chips in both for the front and the rear wing. So we're just going to get that wrapped so it looks a bit fresher for the new season. Our wrapping guy Dave is absolutely fantastic, so I'm going to be going to him, and hopefully with this unsolicited plug on my YouTube video, he's going to give me a very good discount. You can see some of his finer work here on this trike. As you can tell, this is a huge chunk out of my racing budget for the season ahead, but of course I think a lot of these are actually necessary to make sure that we are able to start and finish as many of the races as possible. The Brands Hatch opener is on the 27th and 28th of April. I haven't driven at this track before, so I'm quite excited, and it will be the first time that I'm driving on new tyres, so I hope to be more competitive. Next video I'm probably going to show you is some of my preparation on the sim for this race. It should be quite entertaining to see how many times I crashed.